Mike Tyson, Jake Paul. All right. So that is happening, and it's happening tonight on Netflix. And so when you see just sort of, what everybody's looking at this, they're like, is this going to be a gimmick fight? Is this going to be some sort of a circus event? Blah, 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 blah. Well, they had their face-off yesterday. Most of those are a lot of, yelling and back and forth, maybe a push. Unless you step on Mike Tyson's foot when you get too close to him, and then he hauls off and he smacks you like Mike Tyson did yesterday at the press conference against Jake Paul. And I don't know about you, but I think all that did was help the cause for people wanting to be interested in this. There's already a ton of people that have run to the betting window to try and bet on Mike Tyson because he hasn't fought in so long. So what has turned out to be, what initially was thought to be Jake Paul fighting a guy who's close to 60 has now turned into, oh no, that's Mike Tyson. Like, he will throw if you get close to him or you disrespect him, and he did yesterday, and I feel like that would fire everybody up for this event a little bit more.
You gotta forgive me if I'm claiming kind of semantics on all of this. You have to forgive me if I say that this is all a mapped out, planned approach to what's taking place. I really believe that this is a golden opportunity for one reason and one reason only. I think a moment like that maybe establishes the opportunity for there to be the conversation going into the fight that these guys could actually really throw real punches and really fight in this exhibition match. Or I don't even know if it really counts. I'm not sure, but doesn't matter. I would say this. My end conclusion to this would ultimately be if these blows that they throw in this fight tonight are real, if this looks like Mike Tyson I don't care if Mike, because he is older, I don't care if the impact of his punches don't affect Paul the way that they did when he was younger. But if he fights him, like for real fights him, and you can tell he's really trying to get after it, and Jake Paul does the same thing, it sets the stage for if Jake Paul calls into action another fight. Like, who's to say he doesn't call out Evander Holyfield next, or Antonio Tarver, or whatever it may be? Who's to say that doesn't take place? And if he fights this fight, if this is a real fight that people come away with like, damn, they was thumping out there, that's what they set the stage for. But I don't think for 2 seconds Jake Paul didn't tell Mike, like, Mike, just slap the S out of me.
Well, I don't think that's the case, because I don't think Mike was planning on it. Jake accidentally stepped on his foot, like when he got close to him.
Bro,
stepped on his toes.
Let me tell you something.
And got smacked.
Let me tell you something. I almost feel confident in saying it's a 100% lock that was thought out and talked about. Like, do something that ignites the interest. This is the last opportunity to sell this fight.
And also,
and it's not going to be Jake Paul doing that to Mike. So what's the next best thing? Do something that irritates Mike, where it does what you just said. Oh, he irritated Iron Mike. Oh, just when I thought Mike was too old and we weren't going to get Mike Tyson, this was going to be like a ha-ha, he-he exhibition between one of the greatest heavyweights and boxers of all time and Jake Paul, who's become a phenomenon from being a social media influencer to actually a boxer that's really respected for being a boxer. Man, forget all that. Like, that was, to me, that was planned out. You can't convince me otherwise. That was planned out. But now they set the stage for it to be looked at as what happens. I think the results of how this fight go will ultimately dictate if you ever take a Jake Paul fight seriously or not.
Well, I mean, he's said that he wants to call out Canelo after this fight, does Jake Paul. All right, good luck with that. That's a terrible idea.
But is it?
Horrible.
But
idea.
is it? Why?
Horrible. Well, horrible
Why?
idea. He's got no shot. Like, there's no chance.
Yeah, but if he goes into this fight and you really see him throw down against Mike Tyson and he wins the fight, then it ultimately creates, what he's doing is he's successfully, if he executes tonight, you'll say Mike is old and there's no reason for anyone to ever think that Mike at his age should be able to beat a young, strong Jake Paul. It still sets the stage for if he called out a Canelo and Canelo accepted the fight. Let me ask you this one. Well, there is. What's my man's name? I'm blanking on his name. Benavidez. Benavidez. That to me is a mega fight. If that fight happens between Canelo and Benavidez, I think I'm saying it right. Is that correct?
Yeah, Benavidez.
That's a mega fight. But outside of that, if Jake Paul fights his ass off tonight and wins that fight against Mike Tyson, you're going to put an asterisk because of the age, but you're going to say that we should respect Jake Paul. And now he's taken a page out of the wrestling book and how to approach promoting a fight and has married it to the reality and the realness of how you promote a boxing match, and married them together.
Yeah, and look, and there's no hate on Jake Paul. Like, I actually respect what he's done, what Logan Paul's done. For anybody that's never seen Logan Paul wrestle in WWE, he's unbelievable. Like, they've said, dude, this guy's got like 5-6 matches, and his growth in that situation. They've never seen anybody like it. But when it comes to Jake Paul, dude, he's legitimately taking this seriously. It's not like he's just going out there and he's half-assing it and doing all that. Like, he's legitimately taking it seriously and training and fighting hard and putting in his time. The problem is he was sort of fast-tracked. Like, when you go to some of these boxing events, for people that don't know, when you go to these boxing events, before the main event starts, you have your undercards. And on the undercards are like these 4-round fights. And these 4-round fights are basically guys that are starting out their career and they're built up. And that's how boxing's done it for years. I can remember going to fights and getting there really early, and you would see these 4-rounders, and some of these guys would turn into bigger deals, but that was sort of the beginning steps. He kind of skipped past all that and just said, no, I'm going to make money. I'll fight MMA fighters who maybe aren't the best at stand-up, and that'll be the path that I take to get into this. But while doing that, he's legitimately trained and legitimately gotten better, and he's got good skill set. Like, he does have a good skill set. Like, this fight, look, the gloves are bigger, the rounds are shorter, there's less rounds. Like, there is a catering to we understand that this is not, a guy who's in his prime fighting Jake Paul. This is a guy who's close to 60. I just come away from yesterday going, all they did was generate more interest. And there was probably some intent. Yeah, there was probably some intent there, of course. Like, let's do a little something. He was wearing, apparently he had like, gold ear protectors that he was wearing at the press conference. Like, he's really selling this whole thing. But the other thing they did that was smart during football season, it's a Friday night. Like, throw that bad boy on a Friday night on Netflix. And I think they're going to do big numbers. I think Netflix is going to be thrilled. I just hope Tyson doesn't get hurt. That's my whole thought.
I mean, I think that's well put, because in the end, what is going to trump if you're a true avid sports fan, what event tonight is going to trump watching that? Just, I'll order it up on my Netflix. Don't you have to order that specifically, or is it a part of your...
I think it's just a part of Netflix.
If it's a part of your subscription, why would you not watch it?
Yeah.
Why would you not watch that? I mean, honestly. I know I'm going to watch it. Why would you not watch it? Like, even if... Like, think about this. And you brought up Logan Paul. The reason why Logan Paul is able to skip that proverbial line is because he's already done the hardest work of it all. Those guys that end up being in those main events and main matches, it's not because of their wrestling skills, Jonas. It's because they've been able to build up their following leading up to getting to those major matches and major events, because those are the brand names that sell the tickets, that sell the pay-per-views. You're never going to see a no-name wrestler in WrestleMania be the main guy because they're not an act that can attract. So what these Paul brothers have done is they took an unconventional, non-traditional approach to building up how they're viewed. It's the same thing Pat McAfee did in media. We're sitting there and we watched a phenomenon created by McAfee because he built his audience on his own with his influence within the social media realms, the non-traditional ways of doing media, and you get what you said to the people who aren't really paying attention to it. You skip the line, and you go and you become one of the most powerful people in all of sports because you've already built your brand to be the main attraction. And that's what the Paul brothers have been able to do. It's been brilliant because it first started off and was sold as a gimmick. These guys aren't really fighters. They can't really fight to win. Okay, they get out there, they win the fights. Then it's like, oh, it's a gimmick because they're paying fighters to take the fall and this, that, and the other. And this doesn't seem like he's fighting good enough fighters. But you're not saying he can't fight. You're never saying, I've never heard anybody say, Jake Paul or Logan Paul, they can't fight. You just hear them ask questioning, is this real? Or
legit athletes.
Okay.
Legit.
Okay. So now you've started to turn that following that you built with your social media influencer presence. You've married it into a different category, which is the combat fighting category, which is the WWF, the wrestling, category. That's different than just WWF. It's all of that. And you've taken it into the realm of Netflix, the streaming community, and made it convenient to watch it. It's brilliant what the Paul brothers have built. It's brilliant what they've done. It's not an overnight success situation. It's not something to be taken lightly. They have masterfully put together a plan and strategy that they've executed at a high level, and it culminates to having a moment such as this for tonight, and I can guarantee you it's going to be a tremendous success. You will not hear, and I'll get to talk about it first, you will not get to hear that it was a flop Up On Game tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Damn.
On the West Coast time, Pacific, or 12 noon to 2 p.m. if you're on Eastern Standard. Make sure you check that out. And if you decide to stay on after we finish up, you'll be able to hear Jonas Knox immediately after.